All right. So Roland, you can go ahead and get us started.
Okay, sure. All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our pilot funding informational webinar. We're very excited to share with you just an overview of our center, as well as share with you the funding announcement we have out, and then in the end answer some questions that you may have around this funding announcement. Next slide.
Okay, so I think I'm going to present the next couple slides, right?
Yeah.
All right. If I can. All right. So welcome, everyone. We're really delighted that you could attend this webinar of our Johns Hopkins AD-RCMAR Center today. And we are fortunate to be part of a nationwide network of resource centers for minority aging research. These centers that you see listed on the slide here are Alzheimer's disease focused RCMAR centers. These centers are the most recent addition to the RCMAR family. We were funded along with 7 other centers that you see listed here on the slide to focus specifically on Alzheimer's disease research, minority aging, and health disparities. Some of these centers, like McFadden, are housed across numerous universities, and some are within a particular university. UCLA is the coordinating center for the National RCMAR Network. And the mission overall, the RCMAR network, is to increase diversity in the aging research workforce. And the RCMAR centers have actually been around for over 2 decades. There are what are known as general RCMAR centers. There are 10 of those, and they focus on various aspects of minority aging, such as pain management, healthcare delivery, aging and technology. And so they are part of this network. And so there are a total of 18 RCMAR centers nationwide. Sure, why these slides aren't advancing here.
So George, I think you want to put it in slideshow.
Oh, I don't have it in slideshow? I thought I did.
No.
All right. No, it is in slideshow. Sorry about that.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So the overall aims of our RCMAR Center are consistent with the overall mission of the RCMARs. The first aim is to mentor a diverse group of investigators in minority aging research on Alzheimer's disease and related disorders and health disparities. And we take a life course perspective encompassing multiple levels, ranging from biological and behavioral factors to social and community factors that are key to the maintenance of cognitive health and the reduction of AD/RD dementia risk in minority older populations. And we also, through this RCMAR pilot research program, we conduct Alzheimer's research, disease and related disorders research that addresses disparities in cognitive impairment and AD/RD dementia risk in late life in minority older adults within a framework that encompasses individuals, families, social networks, neighborhoods, and communities. So here is a copy of our organizational chart. Dr. Thorpe and I are the MPIs of the Johns Hopkins AD-RCMAR Center. And the governing body of the center is the executive committee that is comprised of the co-directors of our 4 different cores that you see listed here on the slide. And these cores work very closely together with each other and with the RCMAR pilot scientists and with our faculty mentors to support the overall mission of the RCMAR Center. So Dr. Thorpe and I are the co-directors of the administrative core. Dr. Marilyn Albert and Dr. Joe Gallo co-lead the research education component. And that component is really the key mentoring component for the center. And it's within that component that the pilot funding program is housed. And then we have a community liaison core that engages the community and partners with the community, and that's co-led by Dr. Janice Bowie and Quincy Samus. And then we have an analysis core that is co-led by Chin-Lee Zhu and Jeannie Lasalcos. And that analysis core, we provide support not only in quantitative methodology and statistics, but also in qualitative research. We have Marcella Blinka, who's a member of that core, who is an expert in qualitative research. And we're also fortunate to have a mixed methods training program at Johns Hopkins that Joe Gallo heads up, and that also furnishes a resource for our RCMAR scientists. So this is the executive committee then, these eight individuals, and then we are advised by an external scientific advisory panel, and we meet with them annually and stay in close touch with them. And they the scientific advisory panel is led by Dr. Keith Whitfield, who is a preeminent scholar in the area of minority aging and health disparities research. And he's also currently president of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And that panel is comprised of really leaders in minority aging research, nationally known leaders in this area, both within Johns Hopkins and outside of the university. And it also includes members of the community board. And we're advised by a community advisory committee, and that committee is led by Betsy Simon. And this is a committee that's comprised of different stakeholders and leaders in the community and community members, and it helps advise us on engagement in the community and partnering with the community, disseminating our research findings within the community. So that's the organizational structure of the center. And then a lot of this information and a more detailed description of our center can be found on our center website, and we have the URL for that website at the end of the presentation. So Roland, I'll turn it over to you now, and you can describe the pilot program.
Yes, thank you. One of the thank you, George, for that excellent overview. One of the the heartbeat of the RCMAR is the research education component, and within that is our pilot program. That's where we do the vast majority of our mentorship, and the other cores have do an outstanding job at supporting the RAC by supporting the supporting our RCMAR scientists. Our RCMAR scientists are the individuals who become awardees of the pilot program. So the overarching goal of this pilot program is really consistent with the overarching goal of the RCMAR. We want to prepare the next generation of underrepresented minority researchers to conduct Alzheimer's related research. And we want to do that, and we do it here in a culturally relevant manner, and we want to be able to bridge the research and discovery and implementation so that we can advance our understanding of Alzheimer's disease and related disorders and minority aging. These are one-year pilot projects. They're $30,000 in direct costs plus F&A costs for each pilot. The due date this year is February 1st, 2022 at 5 p.m. and the projected start date is July the 1st of 2022. Next slide, please. As it relates to eligibility, we're one of the few sites that will allow people outside of Johns Hopkins to apply and become RCMAR scientists. There are a few other centers, RCMAR centers that do it, but I think we're one of the few though. And then you can range anywhere from being a postdoc, but that postdoc fellow has to be on track for promotion to at least a research associate position by July 1st. And then we will request a letter from a mentor confirming that promotion process, or confirming that the promotion will take place by the stated deadline, which is July 1st. We're looking for junior faculty here, and then the overwhelming majority of the scientists have been junior faculty. And then we also will allow senior investigators who haven't received the R01 or who are transitioning to AD, RD, and then minority aging research. But if you're at our center, if you've already received funding from another RCMAR center and you're already named a RCMAR scientist, you're not eligible for our program. And we strongly encourage individuals from underrepresented racial ethnic groups, as well as individuals with disabilities. They're encouraged to apply for this support. Next slide. Now, briefly, I want to go over the requirements. And it's extremely important that when you're putting your application together, that you follow these requirements. So we're looking for a cover page, and on the cover page, of course, we want your applicant's name, your affiliation, the title, and some contact information. And then we want you to have an abstract, and we want to use the NIH format, the PH 398 format for the abstract. And then we'll have the 5-page bio sketch, the new bio sketch from the new format. And please make sure you have a personal statement on there. And then here's the real big kicker. We want 3 pages of the proposal that includes specific aims, significance, innovation, and approach. But these 3 pages do not include the references, and we're asking for it to be an Arial 11 point. Next slide. Okay, all right. And at the one of the other things that we're asking for is in these requirements that you give us 3 names of potential reviewers to serve as reviewers for your application. But remember, the suggested reviewers, we want them to minimize any conflict or potential of conflict. So we want to make sure that those reviewers have not collaborated with you on grants, manuscripts, or other scholarly activities. And then a budget and budget justification are not required with the initial applications. But if you're awarded, we will reach back out to get that information. So on the initial application, you do not need a budget or a budget justification. And if you need the NIH blank forms, please email us at the email address that's stated here, and we'd be more than happy to send you those blank forms. And then at the end, you're going to put together a single PDF, and you're going to put those documents in the order in which they have been, which would be the cover page, the abstract, the bio sketch, and then your research proposal and the references that go in that order in one single PDF, and be emailed to the email address that's listed here. That's no later than 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 1st. Next slide, please. So now that we've gotten the eligibility and requirements, let's turn briefly and let me share with you the review process. So once we get the initial reviews in, then we have a research review committee that helps us organize the review process. And that consists of senior investigators from we'll have the co-directors of the research education component that's engaged in the review process, as well as myself and Dr. Reebok. And we look for senior investigators who have expertise to review your application, and each application has 2 reviewers. And we have our review style is very similar to NIH in that we do provide written critiques, and we have an overall impact score that ranges from 1 to 5 in this review process. and then we take those we take the reviews we take each of the reviewers scores and we average those scores, and then there's a ranking and there's some discussion going on. So it's not just based on pure ranking, there's discussion around the applications as well with regard to the research review committee. Next slide, please. And then afterwards, after we make these decisions, then we will notify people their status, and those who are to be the investigators to be funded. Then at that time, we'll request information about budget and budget justification. And for those including human subjects, we need to have the targeted plan enrollment form, and we need to use the NIH format. I can't stress you how important it is to have that human subjects and the targeted plan enrollment in place. If it's not in place, then NIA will send it back to us and request that information from you. These projects have to be, not only we have to select them, but we select them, then we approve of them, then they have to get the final level approval by NIA. And once NIA approves those, then we can release the funds to you to start your work. One of the things that we do, unfortunately, everybody's not funded, but those who are not funded will have an opportunity to review your critiques and your application with myself and Dr. Reebok and any other senior investigators that we think may be important for you to get the feedback from if we think the feedback is not clear. And then you also have the opportunity to apply. You will have the opportunity to apply at the next available round. And we see that we foresee that applicants will be notified by April 1st of our funding decisions. Next slide, please. Oops, back up for one. Yeah. So now what happens once we get funded and we get approval by NIH? So now, then once that occurs, then we will send a letter out. And in the letter, there's a number of things that we ask, that we require for being a RCMAR scientist. And these, we require that you agree to our benchmarks prior to the receipt of funding, and submit progress reports and mentoring reports on a frequent basis. And we ask that you submit a final report 1 month at the end of the project. And the other thing that we ask for is that at the completion of the project, you provide us updates on an annual basis for our progress reports to NIH. And other benchmarks that we have, some of the other benchmarks that you agree to prior to receipt of funding is participate in our professional development seminar series. And in addition to participating in our professional development seminar series, just providing a sense of community with the rest of the RCMAR scientists. We have this saying in the RCMAR community, once a RCMAR scientist, always a RCMAR scientist. And so while the funding may be over, that you still remain a key member of our RCMAR family. Next slide, please. Here's just some of the support that the RCMAR scientists in our center that we offer in our center. We have regular meetings with the mentors. You will be paired up with 2 mentors that one is going to be a content expert, and then another one's going to be an expert around health disparities or minority aging, depending on your project. And then they're regularly scheduled mentors with your mentoring team. We ask people to, at their first meeting, to complete an IDP for the 12 months so that we can look at that and have that as an accountability tool for us as we move throughout the 12 months. And then we have meetings with the analysis core. You have to meet with analysis core at the beginning of the project so you can review your analytic goals and describe your project to the analysis group. And then we also have a meeting with the community core. So you can think about particularly if you're doing primary data collection, think about your recruitment plan and identify any other community resources that you may need need assistance from the community core. And then think about, for those who are doing secondary data analysis and you're meeting with the community core, may think about how can you use your findings and translate it so that it's more ready for use in the community. So these are some of the supports that we have in place for the RCMAR scientists. along the way, and then access to it. One of the things, we have access to a tremendous number of outstanding program faculty that support us as well. And with regard to all scientific endeavors. One other thing that we've done, Dr. Reebok and I've done, that has been an outstanding outlay for the RCMAR scientists, is we've served we've served as reviewers for grants for our RCMAR scientists. We have the analysis core if we need them to look at statistical analysis sections. Myself and Dr. Reebok has provided feedback to some of our RCMAR scientists who have submitted grants moving forward. So that's another thing that we have, support that we have for the RCMAR scientists. Next slide, please. And so finally, I want to just ask George to join in with me on this when we go through these FAQs. These are some questions that we've gotten over the years, and so we want to be able just to share with you our answers on these. So the first one is, can we include a co-PI on a pilot project? Because these are pilot projects and they're training mechanisms, the answer is no, that you cannot have a co-principal investigator, but you certainly can have co-investigators on the grant. Can I conduct my pilot project in another country? The answer to that is no, that we don't. We want you to conduct your pilot project in the US, and then given where we are now with the pandemic, we certainly won't want to put other people in difficult positions. And the third one is, does the proposal need to include primary data collection, or can I use secondary? Either one. You could use primary data collection or secondary data analysis. We have had scientists successfully compete using either mechanism, but I would tell you now, the scientists that are doing primary data collection for the last 2 cohorts, some of them are still working to try to finish their recruitment due to the pandemic. The pandemic set them off on a different pathway, on a pathway we never would have expected. And so we're still working with our scientists there to try to help them do what we can, given where we are with the pandemic, to get through the primary data collection efforts. But you certainly can do primary data collection or secondary data analysis. Oddly enough, our most recent cohort, all 3 of them are doing secondary data analysis.
Roland, can I add one thing there?
Sure, absolutely.
With the secondary data analysis, we have several large data sets that you can avail yourselves of, such as the NHATS data set and the active data set. And as part of our professional development series, which Roland mentioned a little earlier, we periodically have presentations on different data sets that our scientists can take advantage of. So if you're thinking about submitting a pilot proposal and you're just not sure of access to a data set, please reach out to us. We can suggest several that may be available to you.
Yep. Right. Can the proposal include qualitative data collection? Absolutely. I think 2, or at least 2 of the RCMAR scientists have done qualitative data, and like George mentioned earlier, we're fortunate enough to have someone on our team, on our center analysis core that has done an outstanding job with qualitative data. And we're fortunate enough to have Dr. Joe Gallo, who runs the training grant on mixed methods. So they have certainly strengthen our infrastructure as it relates to our analytic core. And then so number 5, are the potential reviewers required to be a part of Johns Hopkins RCMAR centers or relevant researchers without any affiliation? No, you can put down your potential reviewers don't have to be a part of Hopkins or the RCMAR centers at all. We're looking for reviewers that have the appropriate expertise, that are not in conflict with you, and we will reach out to them and see if they're available to review the application for us.
And if you're not sure if they'll be in conflict, just contact us and we can discuss the situation. But if it's somebody that you've been publishing with, or work with, an advisor or something like that, then obviously there's a conflict. But a lot of times there's just kind of a that area where it's just not altogether clear.
Yeah. And then the final question that we've received a lot is, can the pilot project be renewed for a second year? And the answer, renewed for a second year, the answer is no. We haven't, we won't renew them for the second year, but as you might imagine, we've extended some. We have some pilot awardees that are on no cost extensions now due to the pandemic. And so we're trying to afford them the opportunity, because research, the country was shut down for 6 or 7 months and we couldn't do any research. And we believe in, making sure that our scientists can be able to fulfill their obligation to the pilot project to be able to advance their careers. George, did I miss anything, or did you want to add something else?
I think, these, we just compiled these because in, previous webinars, these are the questions that we typically get asked. I think one that's not on here is about the budget, but I think you covered that, Roland, in an earlier slide about in terms of you don't need to submit a budget with your initial application. It's only if you're funded that we request a budget.
Correct.
But that's often asked. But I'm sure there are other questions that we haven't anticipated here that you might have. So maybe this would be a good time to open up the floor to other questions or just comments on any of the material that Roland and I have presented. So you can just unmute yourselves or just put something in the chat window. Either way works.
Hi, I'm just wondering, my name is Winyan Mack. I'm coming in from New York City at the New Jewish Home. I'm just wondering how many of these awards will be available?
We make 3 awards per year, and they're all $30,000 awards. I see raised hand. I don't see your name on the screen, but I see your hand.
This is Dr. Arguelles. I'm with Miami-Dade College down in Miami, Florida. So I was wondering if these awards are available for colleges or is it just available for universities?
So the awards are available for the actual faculty members that are at different universities and colleges, right? So we don't have a restriction on whether it's a university or college. Our only restriction is that it could be junior faculty. You can be a junior faculty, you can be a senior faculty who has not received an R01 or who making a transition to ADRD research or minority aging, or you could be a postdoc who by July 1st, 2022, you'll have a faculty position. Those are our only criteria. George, did I miss anything there?
No, you're absolutely right, Roland. So it is not restricted. You don't have to be at a university or like a Research One institution or whatever to apply for one of these awards.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? Yeah, I see another hand raised, please.
Yes. Oh, so this is Xiaowen. I am a junior faculty at Georgia Tech, and I have a question about preliminary findings. So is it required that we include preliminary findings in our proposal, or it's like the purpose of this pilot study is to help us to kind of generate preliminary findings for our future grant kind of submission?
Yeah, so for me, that's the purpose of many pilot programs, is to generate preliminary data. So the expectation for there to be preliminary data there is very, very low. We don't expect to see that you have preliminary data. What we're looking for, though, is that do you have a project that can be done, within the 12-month time frame, and will this project can this project lead you to your to a larger grant? Because that's the overall goal of the RCMARs in general. We want to give you some pilot funding so that you can use that pilot funding to either go after a career development award or go after some R-level award.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so feasibility counts a lot with the reviewers. So just, it's a 12-month award. And so they will look at your timeline, As Roland said, preliminary data are okay to include if you have them, but it's not absolutely required. But also that the reviewers will look at the preliminary data and evaluate the preliminary data as part of the application as well. So if you do include it, just be aware of that.
Right.
I have one more question. If
Sure.
Go right ahead. Yeah.
So is it will there be someone available for us to reach out to just to discuss about potential topic, whether or not you think that's a relevant topic, or it's like within the realm of the kind of the interest of the center?
So that would be myself and George. So if you think that you have something you're not sure, then you certainly can email. The idea is to email both of us, right? So we're both on the email, and we can address it. Be more than happy to address your questions.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow up with us if you have questions or you want to see
Yeah.
if it sort of fits in with the overall mission of the center. Absolutely. Other questions or thoughts?
Hi, I have one question. This is Ami Preston in North Little Rock. I was just wondering about the percentage of acceptance for this pilot funding. And so compared to how many people actually applied for it, and then you have the 3 recipients, what is the percentage of acceptance that you all have been able to see with it?
Over the years we've run the program, it's fluctuated. It can be as low as about 25%, or it can be as high as 50%, or even a little higher. So it does fluctuate just depending upon how many applications we receive in any given year.
Okay, thank you.
These are really excellent questions. Happy to answer others. Just unmute yourself or just type something in the chat window. Any more general questions about the center or about how we're organized, or what we do as a center? Yeah.
I have another question.
Go right ahead.
Sure.
So you mentioned previously that there are available kind of data sets for secondary data analysis. Are they? Is this information posted on the website, or we will have to reach out to you to gain access to the names of the data set or the data that's being collected?
Probably the best way is to reach out to us. I think we have some suggested data sets on the website listed, but I don't think that, we don't have the entire data sets residing on the website.
Okay.
And the other thing about that is that it depends on what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tell us what we're trying, we probably can better guide you to different data sets, because different data sets may have different strengths based on your research question.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, well, we'll post this recording on our website. So if there's anything you want to go back and review, you'll have it available to you. And certainly want to encourage follow-up questions and contact. Don't be shy in reaching out to us. We'll be happy to get back to you. And we're just all very pleased that you could be part of this webinar today, and look forward to receiving applications from you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Roland, did you have some?
No, I was just saying
comments?
thanks. I was just saying thanks. Yeah, this is great. Happy holidays.
Absolutely. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Thank you
attending.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Let's see.